last episode, I finished off the airfield, built a new truck, and connected everything back to our mass storage yard at Viridium Shores using a brand new plane. Today, it's time to build a restaurant. Or something similar. Maybe even two, but it kinda depends how long the first one takes me, because at the moment, I have no clue what I'm doing. As you may know, we have a farm that's overproducing basically every food in the game, especially wheat. Lots of wheat. But it'd be much better if we convert this raw food into some tasty snacks. Who doesn't like a tasty snack? And to make that possible, we're gonna first have to do some experimentation, which means we need to briefly leave this world and jump into a creative flat world. Now in this pack, I do have a couple of mods that should aid with kitching and cooking things, and I just kind of want to see how they all work together and interact with each other. One of these things is the slicer, which we've actually been using since the start of the series because we've actually got it loaded up with an axe so that it strips our wood, but this is actually used for chopping down ingredients. But what we've also got is this, so the Blaze Burner cooking guide, and in here, this essentially turns this dude into a cooking pot, I think, or maybe it loads up a cooking pot that's on his head, I don't really know. But if, for example, we wanted him to make ratatouille, we just need to put the recipe in. For example, tomato, onion, beetroot, and carrot will give us ratatouille. And then we give this to the chef somehow. Aha, there we go. Crouch click, put a cooking pot on top, and that's doing its bubbling thing, so it's definitely working. So if we just quickly set up a system to supply these resources to a mechanical arm, we want this arm to take from these four and put it in here. Yep, there we go. That seems to be the way. And then we'll just give this dude some power. But it doesn't seem interested. Aha, okay, we can actually do it directly to the cooking pot now, which I don't think you can normally do in Create. There we go. So those four items go in. And it is actually cooking. Okay, so I don't need to supply the blaze burner with heat or fuel or anything like that. That is good. And look at that, we're getting ratatouille. Excellent. I'd assume a second arm can take items from the cooking pot and put them in there. Ah, we're also going to need bowls, aren't we? So if we were to put a bowl in there. Okay, so that guy did just take it out and put the ratatouille in the box. Okay, cool. So we know how this works. This is good. And I'll be honest, that's pretty much all we needed to know, just kind of how these little chef blocks work. And I'm assuming if we were, for example, to give him this recipe, which is for bacon, and we were to give him a skillet on top, and then get this dude to deposit items onto the skillet. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so that's making bacon. And I'm assuming that's going to do what it normally does and just fly off when cooked. And that would appear to be the case. It does just fly off, but that's okay. We can catch that in baskets and then figure out what to do with it from there. Good stuff. I think we've worked out the basics and can now figure out some restaurants. Not that I have any idea what they're going to look like. So you may be thinking, Beardy, why are you laying slabs all over the grass? And you may also be thinking that it's because I'm procrastinating about building a restaurant. And you'd be right. But also, I just wanted to get some footpaths in for this part of the town. I don't think I've added footpaths, or at least proper ones, anywhere else in the world. So, yep, this is a first. And I'm basically just using stone, a bit of andesite, and some of these stone brick blocks, which looks pretty good. And these framed slab edges are great for curbs as well, which is fantastic. But I'm essentially just trying to work out where the buildings are going to go, where the town's going to be, and so on, and then I'll start on a restaurant. Because theme-wise for this area, we are, of course, going to be sticking with the sort of 50s, 40s kind of thing that we've got going on with the farms, the airfield, and pretty much the entire world at this point. But I also want to put a strong focus on trying to use some different blocks, and also on interiors, because interiors are something that I'm trying to get better at. And I think this area here is going to be a great place to do that, because so far we've only got a few buildings and they've actually all got interiors. So maybe we'll have a whole town kitted out, who knows? So with that in mind, and the fact we're pretty much just building a sort of central street for this town, you know, it's not really going to be a big place. There's not going to be separate houses or anything like that. But what we are going to do is make sure all of the buildings are at least 2 stories. They're going to be 2 or 3. Oh, look, there's a waystone behind me. But anyway, we're going to make sure all of the buildings are at least a couple of stories, so essentially everyone in town owns a shop and they live above it. So we're going to have lots of masonettes above the shops, and hopefully it's going to look pretty good. For now, I'm just going to continue laying this path so I can procrastinate for just a little while longer. That is a big block. Well, I think that's probably about all the procrastination I can handle, but the road's looking lovely. I've even got some little trapdoors in here for drains and a little bit of texture. But we really should make a start on this restaurant now, I think.
Beardy!
Stam!
Hello, what are you up to?
Absolutely, I'm not busy at all. I don't have any plans and I have nothing to do.
I need to meet you by the docks.
Okay. And there go all my frames.
Frames.
I was down here the other day, you know. Have you seen my new plane?
No.
Okay, but that sounded suspicious.
Oh, okay.
All right. Whoa, okay.
Oh, raccoon on the road. This is actually what I want to talk to you about. I need a forklift for 2 forts.
Right.
Yes, and I would... Would it be possible for me to buy a schematic of your forklift?
I mean, Sure. Schematics are very pricey, I found out recently.
I need one by the port of in 2/4. And I brought some payment here. A hefty sum of 2,000 diamonds.
Right. Oh, they're all going straight into my bank. 2,000 diamonds. Okay, I can.
Yeah.
Well, I will make one for you, and I will deliver it to your abode. If that's all right.
Perfect.
'Cause-
That is all good.
Okay, I've sorted out a schematic for Stam, so you can go make a duplicate of my forklift. But now what I need to do is actually do the restaurant. I really can't delay it anymore. And the question is, what one do I do first? And to be honest, I think I'm going to start with something quite simple and maybe do like a sandwich bar or something. I mean, if we have a look in here, what do we've got? So we've got salads. So, you know, the mixed salad and the fruit salad would make sense in a little sandwich bar. Egg sandwich, chicken sandwich, probably not burgers. Bacon sandwich, that would do well. The mutton wrap, yes, what a treat. And the rest of it, probably not, because it's all soup and big meals and things like that. But a couple of salads, 3 sandwiches, and a mutton wrap, I think that'll make quite a good first shop. And I don't want this to be a shop on a corner, so the question is, do I put it on the main street here, or maybe over there? So let's maybe just leave some space over there for a shop on the corner, and for now, let's just mark out a small foundation. And I think I want this sandwich shop to be relatively small and pokey, so maybe just something about that size, to be honest. Although I haven't figured out a block palette for this yet, so let's have a little look and try some things out. I think I would quite like to use some limestone just for the bottom and the front edge. Being a sandwich shop, I think it wants to look quite clean, so maybe just something along the lines of this. I think that could work quite nicely, but we're probably going to want a window here, aren't we? And if we're going to have the window height here, because the path is slightly raised as well, it's almost as if the shop is actually going to be sunk down a tiny bit. But I think that could look quite cool, so maybe what we should actually do is have a step down into the shop. Something like that, maybe. And then this will be the floor level, and we'll have some seating here so people can look out the window. And, well, there is a lovely waterfall there, but that's going to be hidden by another building later on. But I think that could work nicely. Let's just get these walls built up a little bit more. I think we want to have a nice big window, so let's make this nice and tall. That should do it for window size. However, I'm not really a fan of this bottom area here, so I do wonder if maybe we can swap it out for something else. Maybe something a bit more subtle like that. We'll use white stained glass for the window at the front there, looking good. And I'm still trying to work out what I want to do with the doorway here. I mean, maybe we'll go up and have like a small entrance bit and then step down into the cafe. I don't really know. But I think I should get a little bit of texture into these walls before we go too much further. And for this, we're going to use a couple of diorite variants, alongside a bit of the smooth cut limestone as well. That should look quite nice. And now we have a textured white box. Making progress. Floor on the inside here is bothering me though, so let's get this replaced and see if we can work out the entrance here. Maybe we can keep it simple and just do something like that. Maybe grab some of these. And do we have any of the copycat trapdoors laying around? We do. Copycat panels, that's the one. So maybe we could do something like that, just to sort of bring people back down to this level, and then it means we can still have a step up into the shop from the path, which, to be honest, I think just looks a little bit better. And you may notice I've actually got rid of the fancy sky at the moment, and that's because I'm doing a little bit of troubleshooting. My game keeps randomly crashing. I've actually had to restart the game 4 times in this build so far, and, well, this is how much we've done. Not a lot. So I am trying to figure out what's causing that, and, well, turning off dramatic skies was my first port of call, because it's the most recent thing that I've added, and it didn't happen before. But we'll see. Anyway, enough distractions. Let's carry on with this. Overhanging bit. I think that's what we want next. We'll just get these in there, and maybe over the doorway as well. But what colour do we want to do them? I've got an idea, but we need to go back home. So how about these vertical striped thingies? That's pretty good. I quite like that. But I don't think we have anything too similar for the prismarine, except maybe the prismarine pillar. You see, now that upsets me because they're different thicknesses. I think for now, I'm just going to leave it as plain prismarine blocks. We can always play around with that a bit more later, but that should do for now. Now, let's stick a drain pipe up one side here. To be honest, we're probably going to want that carrying up the majority of the builds. But I guess the question is, what block do we want to use for the second floor? I want it to contrast what we've got going on the bottom here. I want it to stand out a little bit because essentially the upstairs is going to be mainly a living area. Although in saying that, I'm thinking maybe 3 floors for this building might be better because, well, we're going to be making a few things in here and I don't really want to have it too pokey and small in here, but yeah, I don't know. We'll work that out later, but as long as we account for a bit of extra space, we should be fine. But I don't think I want to use any of these blocks, but I do want to use some Dean bricks. However, that is not going to be enough. Question question is, do we have any ochrum laying around so we can get some more made up? Oh yes, look at that. I've just come over here to make some, and there's already a bunch in here, which is nice, so I must have planned ahead. By which I mean they've probably been here for months, so let's put all of those in there. We'll have more sitting there next time we come by, I guess. Good stuff. Now, with this top area, I think I want to have some setback windows, so maybe something like this, and yep, the maths works out. Question is, how tall do I want these windows? Maybe just 3 blocks? And then we'll go for a second floor directly on top here. I think height-wise, that's probably about right. Let's just jam some grass blocks in here. We're going to have flower boxes out the front. And I think I want to go get myself a little bit more warped wood, because I do like the colour of this bottom bit here, and it'd be nice to maybe continue that up the building in places. Well, I think the warp trapdoors work really well, and I've just been playing around with a couple of blocks for texture, and I think we're going to use this, a combination of dripstone, packed mud blocks, and some stripped jungle. They really do set it off quite nicely. And something else I want to do is put some kind of a lip along here, and the same here, but I don't know how this is going to look. So I think I definitely want a lip of some kind, but now I need to figure out what to do about the drain pipe, because that's not really going to work like that. How about maybe let's try slipping a hopper in there? I mean, I feel like it helps, but is that going to look a bit weird if we have this sort of going on all the way up to the top here? Because we'd have to do that there and there as well. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. And I don't think brackets alone are going to be big enough to kind of cover the gap. Actually, I don't know. I quite like that. Brackets holding it in further up, and the one that's a bit more visible down the bottom using a hopper. Yeah, okay, let's go with that. I'm going to get some texture in. I've got the texture in, I've got some glass in, and that's really starting to come together quite nicely. So let's just quickly jam a roof in the top here. I think just a little bit of tuff, maybe some gravel as well, and maybe a few bits of the sanded tuff as well. Well, that's the roof looking a little bit nicer. Let's just add a few sort of ventilation fans, I guess. I mean, it is a restaurant after all. Yep, that looks much better. So, barring a few of the finer details, I think that's looking pretty good as a starting base for our wonderful sandwich shop. So I guess before I go any further, I should probably actually get some more floors in. But I don't really want this floor here to be the ceiling of the cafe down below. So what I'm thinking we can do is just double up on the slabs here like this. And then we can have a lovely floor on the top and a completely different ceiling underneath. And how about that? I think the tiling works pretty well. We'll go with that for now. This place is looking pretty grimy on the inside, though. I'm not sure I'd want to eat here. But we'll sort that out shortly. We'll make it look all nice. But we could do with a door on this place, and I'm wondering what we can do with those. Oof, nothing nice. But there are some nicer doors that are made out of the warped stuff. Maybe we just need a big glass door. Let's try this one. It is actually quite nice. Maybe we'll stick with that for now and see what happens. But what we need to do now is work out the interior a little bit. So if we were to have a counter along this section here, then we can have a kitchen along this section here. And then for the stairs, we're probably going to hide those in the back, because as I say, I imagine we're going to have a bunch more machines actually making food on the upstairs, which is only going to leave us a very small seating area, maybe just for 1 or 2 groups of people. But I think that's going to suit this kind of tiny sandwich shop just nicely. But I think I want to grab a few things for a nicer palette in here to actually get this bit done. There's lots of whites, greys and beige in here at the moment, and it'd be nice to have a splash of colour. So we're going to take a bit more warped wood so we can carry on what we've got going on outside, and maybe let's grab some terracotta. A little bit of white, and I'll take a little bit of red as well, but I don't know if we're actually going to use that or not. And what I'm thinking is maybe put a dividing wall here, and then for the counter, maybe we could do something like that with, what do we think? Maybe some smooth cut limestone on top for the counter, and then just continue this wall across there. Well, that gives it a nice bit of colour. Then let's try some white terracotta at the back here. This will go through into the kitchen area. This will be the service area, and this will be the seating area. I quite like that colour combo, actually. That could work. Now we've got the walls in, I'm going to try and work out some kind of back cabinet, kitchen-y type area here. So I suppose this is more like the serving area. There'll probably be something like a sink, get a chopping board on there as well. We'll stick a shelf up the top here. We'll have a few of these framed flower pots about. We'll give them a little bit of colour in a bit, and I think I want to get a couple of barrels up there, maybe. Just facing that way like that. Maybe another one there. Maybe we should stick a fridge in the corner, although I need a bit more iron so I can actually put a door on that thing. What type of door do we want? Plated? Ancient? Maybe the plated. If we grab ourselves a framed door, stick that there. Yeah, I think that works pretty well. Now, something else I want to do is just remove this wall here, put those back in, put the white terracotta back, put panels in the front, and I think we'll try these checkered diorite tiles. Stick those in the back here. Nope, they are horrific. Maybe let's try these tiles. Nah, it's still not right. Maybe just normal diorite tiles would work. They still just feel a little bit too noisy, don't they? Let's go grab some white concrete and see how that's looking. But first, I do want to clear out my inventory a bit, so we're going to stick a brewing stand there, and we're going to stick some water bottles in it. Nice splash of colour. Right, let's go get some white concrete. Now, does this have a tile variant? Aha, it does. And compared to the diorite, they look lovely. Question is, do they fit down here? Yeah, I think that works much better. Now let's stick in a till, make these mugs look a little bit more like mugs. But these ones here are going to be flower pots, so I'm just going to add a little bit of colour to these. Though to be honest, I think I might as well just use normal flower pots here. There we go, that's better. We'll just put a couple of herby bits in there. We'll stick a flower in there. I'd say the service area is looking pretty good so far. But what I think I want to do now is try and sort out the front here. We need to get some seating in. We need to get some kind of like snack grabbing machine type things, I guess. But that should be fine if I just go grab myself once again a few more bits and bobs. So I'm making a start on the interior here. I've got down a couple of seating areas. We've used some sort of quilted wool here for the back of the chairs, which I think works quite well. And we've used the old piston trick with a redstone block underneath just to get our tables. I have also added the wool into the back of the wall here, but of course that does create a slight problem in that it's visible from the outside. So I've then just used a couple of wallboard panels like this, and then put some limestone back in just to hide them. I mean, we are going to end up with another building next to it anyway, so, you know, they're not actually going to be visible. But if I don't do something about it, it's going to bother me in the meantime. But for a couple of tables, that works well. Now I want to try and get in something else. I think in this little bit here, just a big old flower pot and a flower would look good, but we don't have those things on us. Spent so much time going backwards and forwards to storage today. I'm glad we got these waystones. And I'm thinking what we'll use is one of these, a cherry sapling. Doesn't that look lovely? And I reckon if we're sneaky, we might actually be able to get another seat in here. Ah, no, we won't. Ignore me. Let's put that back. So next up, we're going to do some fridges here that are going to hold drinks and whatnot. And the best thing for me to do for that is to get a couple of doors down. So that one's good. That one opens the wrong way. And now it's good. Brilliant. So let's get this loaded up with some drinks. Just pretend, okay? They're clearly books, but we don't need to worry about that. It's fine. It's fine. Get a couple of bits on top there just to seal it off. We'll do the same on the side with a couple of boards, just because they're a lot flatter than the trapdoors. Looking good, but what I think we need now is some lights. And for the lights, I think I want to do fluorescent lights, because they're going to fit with the theme a lot more than all these lanterns we've got. However, I don't think I have any end rods. I have one. That is not good. Something I do have lots of, though, are sea lanterns, and more specifically, the Hive variant of sea lanterns, and I think they could work quite well if we combine them with some framed blocks. This isn't just me trying to get out of going to the end, honest. And with these, I guess there's a couple of options. We could literally just stick them to the ceiling like that, which, to be honest, does actually look quite good. In fact, can't we potentially do this and actually sink them into the ceiling? Yeah, that's pretty good. Just need to change where I'm putting them. Yeah, I think we're going to go with that, and they actually tie in quite nicely with this colour here as well, which is good. And I'm also having a change of heart about the location of that. What I want to try doing is not that, but maybe this. We'll move the glass barrier up a level. No, not quite. More like that. In fact, I'm going to do a whole lot of reorganisation around here. I think I've got a better layout that may work for us. Right, so how about we do something a little bit more like this? And we'll get the tables back in, get the backs on the chairs, and we'll get a couple of mugs scattered around as well. And that also means we can put this back how it was, because it did look a little bit better when it had glass running all along. Okay, cool. That makes me feel much happier. Now, over here in the windmill, we should have a whole load of straw that we're not doing anything with, and I think I want to steal some. Yeah, look at that, 32,000. Jeez. Oh, and a hole in the floor. Ah, That's close enough. What we're going to do is make lots of canvas and then make a bunch of canvas rug. And I just want to have this here just as a small little part. I don't really want too much. Maybe even that's too much. Yeah, I like that. That works. And now we just need a few signs, I think. Well, we're almost there with the interior. We've got some signs up just showing exactly what it is we're going to be storing in here, which I suppose is going to be in these barrels and cupboards. We could probably feed them from behind. I think we probably just need a picture or two up here. I mean, I know these are frames, but I don't have any pictures on me right now. We'll go get some in a moment, but I think they'll tie it together nicely. And I think I just want to make a couple of portions of the floor look a little bit more worn as well. There we go, nothing major, but that should help break it up a little bit down there. Let's go get some proper picture frames for the wall, and then we can actually move on to the farm parts of this. Farm? That's not what I meant. The baking and the sandwich construction, which should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to trying to work that out and cramming it in. Now, what did I come back here for? Oh, yes, some immersive paintings, but do I have any? I do not, unless they're over this side. They are. But I think I'm going to take a few standard Minecraft paintings with me as well. Jeez, I really need to sort out my inventory. So much stuff in here. Alrighty then, so paintings. Bit of an awkward space here, so we either want probably 3 small paintings or 1 big one. So what do we got? These are the kind of built-in ones that just come on this thing. That's a lovely 1x1 painting. Nope, don't want that. This is a 4x4. Oh, bit big. Let's try that there. I'll tell you what, that doesn't actually look as bad as I thought it was gonna. Maybe if we move it over 1. Well, that's like a giant mural in the cafe. We might swap it out, but for now, I think I'm gonna leave it. The colors actually work nicely with the interior here. And we're gonna stick a small painting over this way, but I think the only 1x1 we've actually got is that one we just looked at. That one. I mean, what even is that? But it adds a bit of life and a bit of color to the room. And with that, I'm gonna call the front finished for now. If you've got any other ideas of what we can do in here for a bit of decoration, for some unique bits and bobs, do let me know. As I say, I am trying to get better at my interiors, and I could really use all the help I could get. But that's not bad. Now, there's a few things we're going to need to do out here, one of which is actually make a way to get upstairs. Thankfully, that's not too challenging. Let's just do this. And there we go, we have stairs. And we're going to need access to those cupboards for loading up the food, and we're also going to need access to those 2 barrels. And I think for getting stuff into these, the easiest thing for us to do is probably going to be to use funnels like that, and then have a mechanical arm just sort of hanging down from the ceiling and taking everything that's ready off of depots here. Not that I have any depots, I haven't really got much drawer stuff. Yeah, okay, I need to go do some crafting, but once I've done that, we can start setting up the delivery system here, and I think it's safe to say that all the actual sort of baking and so on is going to be happening up here. Well, I've done a whole bunch of crafting, and hopefully I've got what we need now to start this setup. And we're going to start at the end here, which is actually where things are going to be getting dropped off. So essentially, we're going to want that going up there. We'll stick some depots in front of these. And we're also going to need power over in this building, and I think the best place is probably going to be to link it up through here. And we can connect it directly over to there by the looks of it. That's not too far. And there we go. Just like that, we have power. And then what I need is mechanical arms, and I don't actually have any of those, but we can make a few. So we want this dude to be putting things into all of these brass funnels and taking them from these. Fairly straightforward. Let's just continue that power up to the top floor, and we'll stick in a few cogs, I think. There we go. That should do the trick. Let's just fill in a few holes around the back here. We certainly don't want those. And I didn't do my prep very well at all. I've only got 2 brass funnels. Okay, we need to do some more crafting. That's better, so we want all of these doing this. And that's the functionality for the stockroom sorted. Now we just need to actually go up here and make all the machines. Although in saying that, I should probably actually make a list of ingredients first. So I've constructed a list, and it looks like we've got 14 different items there. And they're, of course, going to get converted into some other things. For example, the pumpkin, the cabbage, the chicken, the pork, and the mutton all need to be sliced. And, of course, we need to turn the flour into bread. So what that tells me is we're going to need a whole bunch of storage. And to be honest, I think I'm just going to stick it up here for now. Although, actually, I think it's going to make sense to get the top floor on before I do this. Need to know exactly what space I'm working with. Alright, so that's the ceiling in. This is how much space we've got down here, and ideally I would like to try not to use the space up here as well, because I do want to put some kind of a living apartment in. But, well, if we need it for farms, we need it for farms. So let's get a bunch of storage drawers in. We're just going to stick these across the top there. And I should go grab a stack of everything on this list just so we can do a bit of organisation. And all of this is automated apart from the apples. But I think I know where we can get a lot of them. And that is over here at Timberholm. Although for some reason this seems to be completely detached from the rest of it at the moment. That's a bit weird. And as a result, that means it's not been chopping down the oak over here, which means we don't have any apples. Dang it. Let's just quickly get this reactivated. Not what I was expecting to do today. All right, that should do it. Let's turn this back on. And there we go. It's doing its thing. Okay, so this is actually going to collect apples for us, but it's going to take time because, as I say, sadly, we don't have any right now. Which means, I guess, I'm just going to grab the ones we've got over in Beardstone Valley. We must have some, at least. Okay, we have a lot more than I thought. We've got 3,000 of them. Jeez. Well, that'll certainly be enough to make a few fruit salads. So let's grab the rest of the bits we need. We need pork, we need mutton, we need eggs, we need berries. Although we've got a lot more of these berries, so we're going to use those ones instead. We need pumpkin, melon, beetroot, cabbage, carrot, tomato, onion, and flour. I think that was everything. Now let's just give all these things a home. Ah, wait a minute. I've forgotten the chicken. All right, there we go. We have chicken. Although it does occur to me, we still need a drawer controller, so let's put that in there and lock the drawers and show us all the numbers. Perfect. Now, the first thing we need to do is to prep some of this stuff. So these three here, we need to chop and cook them. So I think that's what we're going to tackle first. So let me think about this. We're going to need a depot. We're just going to make one up and then we'll figure out the rest. So we're going to need a depot there, which means we need a slicer above it. We're going to need to make sure we've got power running through this room, so I think I'm just going to use these. Because then we can do that, we can attach other stuff to it, we can rotate them to point them up if we need to. It just gives us lots of versatility. That was a big word, wasn't it? Let's do 3 of these, because we need to chop all 3. So we're just going to crouch click those onto there for now, while we set some filters. So we need 1 of each of these. Which means we need an axe in each one of these, and we need to make sure they're going to spin the right way. So a couple of cogs and a shaft, and it looks like they're potentially going the right way, or at least that one is. Oh, okay, yeah, that's going to be a problem. So that means we can't actually put these next to each other, because we need to put a cog in between them to make sure they're doing the right thing. Okay. So already that tells me we're probably going to have to use upstairs, because this is going to take up almost half the room just slicing these 3 things. And if we consider we've also got to slice the cabbage and the pumpkin, yeah, we're definitely going to have to use upstairs. So I'll just get all of these in. But at least they're all spinning in the right direction. If we just turn these round, we should get... No, that doesn't want to slice the pumpkin. Oh, wait a minute. They're not supposed to be axes at all. What am I doing? I'm not chopping wood up here. What we need is knives. So now if we put a knife in, yep, there we go. So with these 3, once we've got our slices, what we want to do is get them cooked, which means we need to make some cooking guides. And we've got sturdy sheets and carrots on us, but we don't have any canvas. Lucky for us, we've got tons of straw. And now we have canvas. So we can make some of them. We'll set this one just to cook mutton chops. You are now a chef. No valid recipe provided. Maybe I don't actually need blaze burners for these guys. Maybe I just need stoves. Let's quickly jump back into that creative world. Yeah, so this guy is making cooked bacon. He seems happy. What if I replace him with a stove, though? And empty that out. Yeah, the arm still places in there. Okay, so I don't need blaze burners for the pans, just for the pots. Good to know. That does mean, though, I need to go get myself some stoves. And in fact, while I'm here, let's grab some of these, because we're going to need skillets. Let's get a bunch of these. You can go there, there, and there. Let's just get these on top of those. And the stuff for these is going to fly off to the right because of the way we've placed the skillets, which basically means we need to figure out a way to collect them. We could collect it into baskets, which are going to go obviously here, here, and here. But then we have the issue of trying to get them back out again, which isn't really something I want to be dealing with. But I have another idea. Actually, I think I've got quite an easy solution to this. So what I'm thinking is, if we were to actually raise the stoves up a little bit, then put the skillets on, and then go get some bamboo to make some baskets. Okay. Home again. Jeez. You know I should have made that bamboo farm. Definitely should have made that bamboo farm. But it's not the end of the world. We live next to a jungle after all, which is probably why I never got around to making a bamboo farm. And now we can make our baskets. If we put those there, there, and there, then they should catch anything that's cooked. And the chicken also drops bone meal, so yeah, we're gonna need to get rid of that, but I think we can do that easily enough. Stick a drawer there with bone meal on it. We'll give that a lock. Put an input funnel on top, filter it for bone meal, and then when we set up the arms, we'll make sure he puts chicken over there and bone meal in there. Although my next issue is how do we make sure the arms only put the bacon on there and not the actual mutton chops? I mean, the good news is the baskets are working. The bad news is I think I need to redo this once again. Don't worry, folks, we'll get there eventually. So what we actually need to do now is get some more drawers in. And to do that, I need to make more drawers. Yep, we're out. Then we'll set filters on these. And these are just going to collect the chopped up items for those two. So they'll actually need to be linked back into the main system. These ones, however, are just going to be basically temporary things. Just to hold our bacon, our chicken, and our mutton chops wherever they've gone. Are they still over there? Yep, there we go. Wait a sec. Let's do this the right way round, shall we? Get those locked and quantified. All right, good stuff. But now what we can do is have those there. Funnels on the sides. Oh, I am going to set those to one at a time. Funnels on the top. And then we can actually filter it. Beautiful. Then we're going to need some additional cogs up here, and one to connect everything. Now let's set up some arms. Not gonna lie, this is taking a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So we want to take from there and put in there. That's you. You want to take from there and put in there and there. You get 2 jobs, sir. You go from there to there, there to... let's actually put some filters on these ones. So you go from there to there, and you go from there to there. Look at that. Beautiful. Now we can get our stoves in, stick them on top, skillets to go with those, baskets next to them. Then we're going to have a drawer there, and a drawer there. And then we're going to go old school and just use some hoppers. Then that'll take everything out of the baskets and put them into these 3 drawers. Wait a minute. That's not going to work. They need to go into drawer controller slaves. Need to connect them together with trim. And then I've got to connect all this together. Right. I think on this occasion, because it's in the back room, we're just going to go through the floor and no one's ever going to notice. Apart from us right here, right now. And then we're going to need drawers to store the cooked things. So let's just quickly do one of each of these so we've got something to work with. Stick that there. And there we go. Now we have our chef. He's doing his thing. So I think we're finally now producing all of the base resources we need to actually craft the 4 meals. And that has taken up a lot more space and a lot more time than I actually thought it would. But at least it's working. That does mean we're going to be using the upstairs for crafting the actual meals because we need lots of space for mechanical crafters. Oh, wait a minute. We haven't actually prepped the bread yet, have we? So this is going to be an interesting one. Okay. I think we're going to have to put the basin somewhere like here because we're going to need to feed water into this thing, which means we're going to need pipes coming down here and into some kind of a water source. Oh, my days. I reckon maybe just a pipe out the back of the building, you know? We can go underground and steal it from there. Let's just jam some pipes in. And because we're likely going to have a building backing onto this, I'm actually just going to go down in the wall instead of outside the wall, which is not going to look great at first, I'll be honest. But eventually it'll all be hidden, so not a problem. Let's just make a water source here, and we just need to link up a pump to some power. But yeah, shouldn't be too difficult. Power's right there. Let's just steal a bit this way. Vertical gearbox and a cog. Wonderful, water's going up. Let's just cover this up as best we can for now. That's awful. But we've got water in there. Brilliant. What we're going to do is replace that with a drawer controller slave. Going to stick a depot there with a funnel filtered to flour. And let's turn that round. Then we want another funnel there, which will eventually filter to dough once this makes some. But we need to make a mixer. And it's just occurred to me we're supposed to be cooking eggs as well. Dang it, we're going to have to squeeze in another cooker somewhere. But we'll come back to eggs. I need to make a mixer first. Right, so let's put the mixer there. Chuck some flour in there just so we can get some dough to use for filters. And, yeah, we should get some power over to this thing. We know we're going to need an arm, so let's temporarily stick that in there. And... power. Kind of don't want to cover up the food boxes, so we're just gonna have a mess of cogs. Yes, I think we are. Oh, that is a really awkward one to get to without making it look messy. I think it's just gonna have to look messy and cover up some of my boxes. Although I might be able to make it a little bit tight. No, I can't actually. No, ignore me. No, let's put those back. So we want to set this to 3 at a time because that's how many it needs to make dough. We'll set that to dough and that to dough. Gonna need a couple more drawers actually. We're gonna need one for dough there, and we'll sort out the egg one shortly. Now I think we can link up this dude. So we want him to go from there to there. We're actually gonna need 2 of these guys, aren't we? And we're gonna need one to take from there and put in there. Yep, there we go. They're doing their things. We are making dough. Excellent. Now we've got to squeeze in some egg cooking. And I think what I'm gonna do is squeeze that in in right about here. So we'll just do the same setup with the baskets, which means we'll stick a hopper in there, a basket on top, and of course the skillet. And with a little bit of rearrangement over here, so if we were just to raise up that drawer controller slave by 1 and put the filter back on, then what we can do is stick a depot there, set that to eggs, find my wrench. Where's my wrench gone? There it is. And we'll turn that round. When the eggs get cooked, they should go into this box. Nope, that's stove. That's an egg. Brilliant. We'll lock and quantify. And then we just need an arm to do the cooking over here. Or cogs. Wonderful. So we did manage to jam all of those bits in on this floor. That makes me very happy. Although I suppose dough isn't what we want to eat, is it? We still need to turn that into bread. So looking at the space I've got around here, I think I'm going to bake the bread upstairs because, yeah, although we've got loads of autocrafters to go in, that's pretty much it. So first things first, let's make a little hole so we can send some power upstairs. Get that cog back in. And now we have power. Excellent. Although, let's cover that up. Right, so we've got 6 recipes we need to be making up here. That one needs 9 crafters. That one needs 4. We don't have bowls. It's fine. We'll just stock up with loads. That one needs 3. That one needs 4. That one needs 4. And that one needs 4. Okay, so we've got 4 4s, a 3, and a 9. So maybe we should do the 9 first. That's going to be a big one. Let's just clear my inventory and sort things out, which is done much easier by my magnet upgrades. Everything that has a home has now gone into it. And that tells me a few of these things still need homes. So how are we going to fit in 6 mechanical crafters? 3 on each side, I guess. So let's work out roughly where we think we can put those, and then we'll work out where to cook the bread. So that should be enough space for all of the crafters. Now they should all be facing the same way. Let's just get them hooked up to the system. So we'll punch a hole in the ceiling here, I think. Put trim in there, and I'm just going to move these 2 over here. Then we're going to use drawer controller slaves to collect each one of these. Connect them all up with trim. And we're going to need 6 more storage boxes as well as 1 for the bread. So we're actually going to need another 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we can fit them in here. Oh, now what I want to do is give all of these crafters some power. And in fact, I think I'm going to do it above. It's going to look a little bit nicer. That's all the crafters going. Now here comes the difficult part, because I need to put funnels on each of the back of these, and I need to set up all of the recipes. So I'll bring you back in a minute once the boring bit's done. Well, that was mildly confusing, but I think we're loading everything up apart from the bread. So these 2 still need bread. This one needs bread here. This one needs bread here, but all the arms should be able to reach and grab it from this spot. This one here needs beetroot, which if I put down, we should start getting that. Oh no, wait a minute. I see the problem. That needs to be a cog. There we go. So that one, we should be able to give a home. There we go. So we've got salads ticking in. But the other thing we need to do is actually get the main resources over. And we're probably going to do some fancy delivery system in future. But for now, I just want to get stuff over here. So with that in mind, what we're going to do is connect the systems one way or another. So give me a moment and I'll let you know what I get sorted out. Right, well, I've got it worked out. We've got a bunch of smart chutes with filters that are pulling out the appropriate things and putting them in these drawers. And the reason they've all got their own individual ones instead of just using an actual sort of fabric-y filter thing that you can put multiples on is because, of course, these are going to fill up and have something left in it when the box over here is full. And we really don't want that happening. But sadly, the 2 storage interfaces were just a little bit too far away, so we have to put in another switch over here, which once again is absolutely fine. I can just do this. Oh, I've run out of those. But as long as I put chutes for each individual resource, we're not going to get backed up on one thing and prevent other things from coming through. Just need to make myself a few more drawer controller slaves, and we should be able to get this sorted. And there we go. Okay, and we can see all the numbers are changing and doing their thing, which means they're filling up the boxes in the restaurants, which hopefully means everything up here should be working. It certainly sounds like it's doing something. Oh, yes, look at this. Look at it go. Wonderful. So these are all ticking up as well. This is good. And hopefully, if we unlock these... Nope. That's not what we wanted. Let me just quickly disconnect this temporarily. So now this system is standalone, but hopefully now, if we unlock this, yep, we're going to start getting some of the meals coming through. Only those 2 for now, it would seem. And that's because for the other 4, we still need to be making some bread. But we've got a lot more space now, so that should be fairly easy. So I think what we're going to do here is have 4 cooking stations for the bread, because, well, we're going to need a lot of bread. We're going to need some encased fans, but I don't have any of those on me, so let's go make some. Wonderful to hear everything working though. I did a bad thing. Well, a silly thing at least. So I've just been looking at the footage I've recorded today, and it's basically the whole second half of the video, and it's all slightly misaligned. So apologies if that looked a little tiny bit zoomed in and a bit off kilter. but I didn't want to give you just half an episode, which is what would have happened. There was no way I was going to rebuild and re-record all of this. But hopefully it wasn't too noticeable, apart from when I was actually in the menus and you could clearly see some of it was cut off. But it happens sometimes, at least it was actually usable footage, unlike when I built this. I just completely forgot to hit record for that stuff. But we now have our baker doing his job, and he's now supplying bread for all the sandwich artists, which are now producing many, many sandwiches, as you can see. I mean, they're a little bit slow sometimes, but that's fine. We don't need hundreds of them. And I've also set it up down here so that everything gets fed into these barrels. And if we look in these, we can see we have hundreds of them, especially salads. We've got lots of salad. But that's good. Our sandwich shop is now stocked, which means we can come here and grab munch whenever we need it. But it's not the best munch, which means we're definitely going to need to add some more restaurants with some better food. But I feel like this has definitely been a good start. And outside here, I've still got a few finishing touches to do. In fact, I need to get some flowers. Let's go do that now. That looks much nicer. And you may notice I've also added a sandwich sign out the front here. I just stole it off Google. I'm not going to pretend I made that myself. And I believe that's actually a photograph of a real old school sandwich sign. But I think it works really well, and once we've got lots of other shops and things all with their signs and whatnot going on, this should fit nicely. But yeah, it does look a little bit lonely at the moment, doesn't it? But I'm very pleased with that, and you may notice I've got the dramatic skies back on. I'm trying a shorter render distance now, and it looks horrible with a tiny render distance. Blah. But at least we managed to get to the end of the episode before we had another crash.